Hello everyone, this is Suresh from Azure ADB. Today our topic is how to add metadata columns in bronze table, either in bronze or silver or gold by using lit function. So we'll see in this video how to add metadata columns, mainly like load underscore date. So that means on which date load is happened and execution date time. So that particular timestamp value. So if a particular date, suppose today I loaded some data, this today's date will be there, and at the same time we'll be having execution date time also. So if suppose in particular day, if execution happen multiple times, then we'll come to know by using this column. So we'll see how to create these columns on top of our source columns. So initially what I'm doing is I'm creating one widget here. So initially I given to remove all widgets. If I have anything, first I want to remove all widgets. And on top of that, I'm creating one widget by using text method. So I given name as schedule underscore date and schedule underscore date. So this is my widget name. See, I given empty here. Since if I give empty, initially you will not be having anything here. So you had to pass this value here. You had to manually type here. So if you pass this, then by using get method, db utilities dot widgets dot get. So this schedule date value I am getting by using get method. So that parameter I am printing here. So this parameter is this one. So this one means whatever I am passing here will get output. Okay. So if you see here, initially I will remove this value. And if I enter, see here, initially this value will be empty. See now it is empty. So that means by running this cell, you will get empty value. So now if I pass this value and if I try to enter, it will give you output here. So this value I'm using somewhere else. Okay. So first what I'm doing, I'm importing required functions and first I'm creating one function to create the timestamp value. So my function name is this one, get underscore current underscore UTC underscore date time. So here what I'm doing, I'm trying to print date time dot now by using from datetime module. I'm trying to print current timestamp value. And inside that, I'm providing time zone dot UTC. So I want to get timestamp in UTC format. And later, this particular timestamp value, I'm formatting by using this one, string to string f time. Okay, so in this format I required. So finally, what I required is year, month, date, and in between t, hour, minute, second. So in this format I required. So that means if you see here how this function works is, if you see only date time dot now. So that means this one without time zone dot UTC. So that means without time zone dot UTC. So first date time dot now, it will give you output like this. So date and time, hour, minute, second, millisecond. So on top of this, I'm passing inside that time zone dot UTC. So that means this particular timestamp, I want to add time zone. So this will get add plus this one. This time zone will get add after adding this one, time zone dot UTC. Next, on top of this value, I'm using string of time function to get only this format. So mine first one is here, month, date, and time, hour, minute, second. So this function will return you this value. Okay, so next what I'm doing, first I'm doing initial load. So for that, what I'm doing, I have one data frame. I'm reading this data frame here. So this is my data frame. So if you see here, how many columns are there? See here, this many columns are there. Input underscore timestamp, update underscore timestamp. So on top of this, I'm adding two more columns. So this is called adding metadata columns. So load underscore date and execution underscore date time. So here I'm using with column function. So I want to generate column, these two columns. And for generating lit underscore date, what I want to get is, here I'm passing lit function. And inside that I given this parameter. So parameter underscore schedule date. So that means this one. So parameter underscore schedule date. So that is this parameter. So this parameter here I'm passing in load date time. So here I'm passing. So since this is a string, I'm doing cast. I'm converting to date type. So finally, what I'll get is on top of my data frame, initially I added one column, that is load date, load underscore date. See, whatever I passed here, 2025 4 5. So since I used late, it will apply this constant value for all the rows in this data frame. And second one is, I want to create this particular column, execution underscore date underscore time. So here I'm using lit function, and here I'm passing this function. So whatever I created this function, no, here. So this function I'm passing. So this function, what it will give you output? This one. So this value, that timestamp value, will add here. See here. So from this function, since we already created this function, that timestamp value will pick here, and then later I converted to timestamp type. Since you converted to timestamp type, if you see here, this is timestamp, this is date. And if you see here, T is there, and this plus time zone is there. So this is timestamp format. And since lit function is there, so same value it is applies to all the rows. So now my initial load has additionally these two metadata columns. And now what I'm doing, I'm trying to create one view here. So on top of this data frame, so this is my final data frame here. So this is my final data frame. So this one, by using create or replace temp view, I'm creating one temporary view here. So bronze underscore table. So if I call later by using Spark SQL, so here I'm using SQL, and here I'm selecting my metadata columns, load underscore date, execution underscore date time, and I want to get the count from bronze underscore table. So that means from here, this particular view. And on top of that, I given group by. So group by of these two metadata columns. So if I do this one, so as of now, I loaded one particular date. So this particular date, and this is the execution timestamp value, and count is 110. See our data frame, initial load data frame has 110 rows. So here, this particular date, this particular execution time, these many records are there in our bronze table. So next what I'm doing is I'm doing second execution. So that means I have one more data you can consider as incremental load. So for incremental load, I created separate data set. I'm calling here like _1, and this one I have 121 rows. So for this data frame, in same method, I'm adding metadata columns with the same method. With column load underscore date, execution date time, and I'm passing this parameter lit, this parameter, and from function timestamp value. And after that, what I'm doing is here I'm doing union. So my first initial load data frame union with second incremental load data. So if I do union, it will give you 231 rows. So initially I have 100 rows. In second iteration, I have 131 rows. Okay, so now after doing union, this particular union, I'm creating again a temporary view. That means I'm replacing, that means overwriting existing bronze underscore table. So again, I created one temporary view. So if I run again this SQL code to check how data is loaded. So initially, when our initial load, we have this data. So that means this particular date, this is the execution time. Initially, we have 110 records. In second iteration, that means incremental load. If you see here on same date, I loaded one more data that has 121 rows. But if you see here, execution time is different. See here, date is same, but see here, 12/3, 12/4. So when we can use useful these two columns is, see, in each day some records is loaded means that is fine. But on same day, so multiple records are loaded. So sometimes what will happen is on same day with a different execution time, so same records will get added. So that means it will accumulate with duplicate records. So now what we can do is to avoid duplicate records. So you can remove any one of the execution time. So you can use SQL for like delete from this particular bronze underscore table and where execution date time equal to this. You mention this and it will get delete. So when will happen this kind of situation is whenever you are working in dev environment and you are doing multiple times for development phase, you are doing some unit test or running the pipelines to test. So sometimes we have to run multiple iterations on same day. So this is the scenario. So next what I'm doing one more incremental load. So for that, I created one more data set here, CSV file, and I'm reading here. And here also, for this also, I added these two metadata columns. So same process, same values I'm passing here. And if you see here, it is added. So here I passed same date. Maybe whenever you do trying, you can change this value so that you will get a different load date. So after that, what I'm doing one more time union. See now, this one is union df underscore second is union of first two loads. That is our initial load and our first incremental load. On top of this, I am doing union of third iteration. And if you see here, your count will get increased here. See here, earlier we have some 231 something. So now it got increased. And this particular data frame after union, again I'm replacing on same view by using create or replace temp view. And if I run same query again, if you see here, see up to here, this is our first iteration, this is second iteration, and this is our last execution. See on same date with the different execution time, again it added 121 records. So if you capture from last 1 week data, so your load dates will be with the different dates. Maybe instead of 5, no, 4, 6, 4, 7, 4, 8, 4, 9, 4, 10, and these execution times. Okay, so in real time, it will be like this. So finally, what we want to come to know from this is select count star from this particular table where load date is null. So that means I want to get count how many records is null with load date column. So if you see here, so here date is there. Suppose I want to do unit test. Is there any condition like load date column is null? So, but here it giving zeros. Since we don't have anything, we are getting zeros. Next main thing what I'm doing is I'm trying to check the duplicates based on my primary key. So here my primary key is task underscore ID. So here I given select task underscore ID and I given count star from bronze table and group by this task ID primary key. And I want to check having count is greater than 1. And if you see here, we don't have any duplicates based on primary key. So that means based on task ID. And similar way, you can check is there any nulls in your primary key. So for that I given select count star from bronze table where this is our primary key is null. So we are getting 0. So sometimes in real time we'll get sometimes count. So count means sometimes we'll get nulls on primary key. So then you have to get alert and you have to cross verify why nulls are getting. So one possibility is that while moving from source to bronze table, from your source itself, your primary key values will be null. So in those cases, you need to contact again source team to correct this scenario. And if you see task ID, so whatever I iterated means 3 times I iterated now. So if you see these values, this primary key, see initially started with 101 and it is up to 121, I think. It is for my first data frame is up to 121 up to here. And if you see this task ID in second data frame, my ID is starting with next value. So I don't have any duplication of primary keys. Okay, so sometimes in real time, sometimes we'll get duplicate records. Then you have to alert and you have to revise your source and branch tables why you are getting duplicate records. So this how you can use lit function to add metadata columns. So that's all about this video. If you really like this video, please like and subscribe. Thank you.